Welcome, Chosen One. This is not a coincidence. This message did not find you by accident. The very algorithm of heaven has rerouted your reality to place this divine transmission directly on your path, here at Chosen Pathways. You are here for a reason. You've been through storms of betrayal that threatened to permanently harden your heart. You've wandered through desolate wilderness seasons that mercilessly tested your faith, and you have endured long, echoing periods of profound loneliness that made you question your very worth in the eyes of God and man. But despite it all, you are still here. And you are not merely surviving. You are undergoing a sacred and powerful evolution. You have grown, transformed, and blossomed into a version of yourself that your wounded past couldn't even begin to recognize. You are not the person who was broken. You are the masterpiece that was built from the pieces. And because of this transformation, something deeply sacred is now aligning in the heavens and on the earth for you. A cosmic shift is taking place in your name. Because the love you have been praying for, the real love, the divine and unconditional love, had to wait. It was held in reserve by God Himself. Not because you were ever unworthy. Let's be clear, your worth was sealed from the moment of your creation, but because this specific version of you, this healed, wise, spiritually rooted, and powerfully discerning version, this is the one. This is the one who could not only receive but also protect, steward, and multiply the profound blessing that God has been safeguarding for you all along. This love is a kingdom treasure, and it required a warrior priest to guard it. That warrior priest is you now. We are about to embark on a spiritual journey together, breaking this divine message down into 7 powerful chapters. Each one is designed to systematically open your heart, awaken your spirit, and prepare your soul for the kind of love that mirrors heaven itself. This is not just information, it is impartation. Chapter 1. You weren't ready, but you were always worthy. Chosen One. Before you allow a single shadow of guilt to fall upon your heart for the connections that dissolved into dust, or before you dare to blame yourself for the love that broke you into a million pieces, I need you to pause. Take a deep, holy breath, and sit with this unshakable truth. You were always, unequivocally, worthy of real love. Even in the moments when you didn't know how to recognize it, mistaking flickering candlelight for the eternal flame. Even when you were still choosing partners from a place of deep-seated brokenness, trying to fill a God-sized void with a human-sized plug. Even when you were pouring out the precious oil of your affection, loyalty, and energy onto people who were never assigned by heaven to carry your heart. Your worthiness was never up for debate. Heaven validated your infinite value from the very start. But readiness, that was a different matter entirely. Readiness was a journey, a process, a divine curriculum. You weren't being rejected, you were being meticulously redirected. You weren't unlovable, you were being lovingly unwrapped, layer by painful layer, like a precious gift that had been sealed for ages. Your true love story was never denied. It was being divinely timed by the author of time itself. There were ancient, generational patterns of dysfunction that needed to die with you. There were deep emotional wounds, scars left by past battles, that had to be cleansed and healed by the hand of God. There were vicious cycles of self-sabotage and settling for less that had to be shattered, not just for your own freedom, but for the freedom of the generations that will come after you. Your healing is a legacy act. The raw truth is, back then, your spirit was still desperately searching for safety in structures that were destined to collapse. You sought refuge in arms that could not hold the weight of your destiny. You mistook the chaotic, gut-wrenching roller coaster of intensity for the quiet, steady strength of intimacy. You confused the fleeting validation of attention for the soul-nourishing substance of affection. You pledged your unwavering loyalty to people who were only temporary assignments, sent to teach you critical lessons, not to build a lasting life with you. And that is perfectly okay. It was all part of the sacred shaping, the divine sculpting of the masterpiece you are becoming. But the love God was preparing for you, the one He was holding in His hands, required a deeper, clearer, and more whole version of you. It could not be entrusted to the version of you that was still apologizing for taking up space, shrinking your light to make others feel comfortable. It could not be given to the version that constantly watered yourself down just to be tolerated in rooms you were always meant to command. God knew that the love destined for you wasn't just going to be emotional. It was going to be prophetic. This is the kind of love that looks past your exterior and sees your soul. It's the kind of love that doesn't compete with your calling but prayerfully covers it. It's the kind of love that doesn't feel the need to dim your brilliant light to feel powerful but instinctively protects it, knowing just how rare and precious your light is in this dim world. This love isn't coming to complete you because you are already complete in Him. It's coming to partner with your purpose. So, yes, you endured heartbreaks that shattered you to your core. You lingered in situations and relationships far longer than your spirit knew you should have. You tried, with all your might, to prove your worth to people who were spiritually and emotionally unequipped to receive the treasure that you are. But look at you now. Just look at the glorious being you are becoming. Look at how far your soul has journeyed from those desolate shores. You had to outgrow the old, wounded version of you that tragically believed love had to hurt in order to be real. That isn't love, chosen one. That is survival. And God did not call you to merely survive love. He called you to thrive in it. You were never too much. You were never too sensitive. You were never unlovable. You were simply in a sacred season of becoming. Becoming the version of you that real, divine love has been patiently waiting for. Becoming the healed, holy vessel that could not only receive this love but steward it, protect it, and multiply it for generations to come. For a chosen one like you, love isn't just about feelings. It's about divine alignment. It's about kingdom legacy. It's about a divine assignment. And the person God has ordained for you isn't coming to distract you from your mission. They're coming to help you launch into its next, most glorious phase. That's why the delays were necessary. That's why certain people couldn't stay. That's why your heart had to break open, so your spirit could finally awaken. You weren't ready back then, but you were always worthy. And now, you are finally both. And heaven is about to confirm it with a resounding amen. Chapter 2. God hid you to heal you. There were seasons so profoundly quiet, so deafeningly silent, that they felt like cosmic abandonment. Do you remember? People you loved and trusted, people you thought would be there forever, suddenly and inexplicably disappeared from your life. Conversations that once flowed like rivers dried up into barren deserts. Friendships that were once your bedrock ended abruptly, without closure, leaving you with haunting questions. Relationships you had built your future plans around crumbled into ruin, seemingly overnight. Even your connection with God felt distant, muted, as if heaven itself had turned down the volume on your entire existence. You would look around and see others being chosen, celebrated, pursued, and promoted. You saw their highlight reels, their engagements, their victories, while you sat alone in a holy silence, wrestling with the painful, piercing question, have I been forgotten? Chosen one, hear this with every fiber of your being. You were never forgotten. You were being hidden. Gemstone, not because you were unworthy, not because you had done something terribly wrong, but because your healing, your deep, soul-level healing, required a sacred, holy separation. You needed the space to break down completely without being watched, judged, or misunderstood by prying eyes. You needed a profound stillness so that your own soul could finally speak above the noise of the world. You needed sanctified solitude so that heaven could minister directly to the fractured parts of you that you didn't even know were still bleeding. God hid you to heal you. You were in the midst of a divine spiritual surgery. And just like a skilled surgeon closes the door to the operating room to ensure a sterile, focused environment, God closed the door to certain people, certain platforms, and certain partnerships in your life. What He was doing in you was far too sacred for public consumption. It was not time for exposure. It was time for deep, inner repair. Because if true love had found you in your brokenness, it would have only deepened your damage. You would have bonded through shared wounds, not a shared purpose. You would have attached through mutual pain, not mutual peace. You might have tragically mistaken the volatile chemistry of trauma for a divine connection. God, in his infinite wisdom, knew that if you were seen too early, the wrong people would fall in love with your mask, not your mission. They would be attracted to your potential, not your purpose. They would applaud your performance, not your heart. So, instead of putting you on a premature display, he lovingly placed you in a divine cocoon. While others were busy posting their highlights, you were being secretly purified. While others were running ahead in the rat race of life, you were being deeply and firmly rooted. While others were attracting crowds, you were attracting clarity. Your spiritual immune system was being rebuilt from the ground up. Your discernment was being sharpened to a razor's edge. God was detoxing you from the insidious addiction to approval, from the taste of counterfeit love, and from the empty calories of shallow validation. You didn't just lose people during this time. You were losing destructive patterns. Patterns that would have undoubtedly sabotaged the very future you have been so earnestly praying for. And though it hurt with an intensity you could barely describe, it was a holy pain. The silence was sacred, because in that place of being completely unseen by the world, you finally started to see yourself again. Not through the distorted lens of rejection, but through the perfect, loving lens of your divine identity. God wasn't just hiding you from the world. He was reintroducing you to you. You weren't being delayed. You were being delivered. Delivered from the crushing pressure to perform, from the exhausting need to chase, and from the soul-crushing lies that whispered you had to earn love. He was reminding you, in the stillness, that you are worthy by divine design. Not because you are perfect, but because you are his. And now, after all the secret tears you've cried in private, after all the long nights you felt utterly invisible, after all the fervent prayers that seemed to hit a brass ceiling, you are stepping out. You are emerging into a season where God is finally revealing the powerful, healed version of you that he always saw. He is bringing people into your life now who will recognize your healed heart, not your former pain. He is aligning you with relationships that speak to your destiny, not your dysfunction. He is sending a love that doesn't confuse you, but profoundly confirms you. What looked like rejection was, in fact, divine protection. What felt like isolation was actually God's loving incubation. What seemed like silence was the soundtrack to your healing song. You were never being left behind. You were being set apart for greatness. You were being prepared for absolutely everything your spirit has been crying out for. And now, you are finally ready. Chapter 3. Love isn't lost. It's timed. Let this truth anchor your soul. Love is not lost. It has not vanished from the earth. It is not hiding from you. It is simply being fiercely protected and perfectly preserved by the invincible principle of divine timing. There exists a version of love, a heavenly strain of love, that doesn't demand that you chase it, beg for it, or constantly perform to prove you deserve it. This kind of love doesn't belong to the fleeting culture of this world. It belongs to God. And if he is the ultimate author of your life story, then rest assured that the love he writes into your narrative will only appear on the page when your heart is truly, fully prepared to carry the weight of its glory. So, do not mistake a divine delay for a divine denial. Do not confuse a sacred silence for a permanent absence. What feels to you like a period of nothing happening is actually a season where God is meticulously organizing everything behind the scenes. He is orchestrating a symphony of circumstances, healing you, maturing you, separating you from the counterfeits, and purifying your deepest desires. He is aligning stars, moving mountains, and preparing hearts. God is not just preparing the other person for you. He is diligently refining you for them. Because a love that originates from God doesn't meet you at the level of your lowest standards or your deepest insecurities. It rises up to meet you at the pinnacle of your highest alignment with him. If he had given you this profound love back then, when you were still healing, you might have idolized it. You might have clung to that person more than you clung to him. You might have depended on that relationship to heal wounds that only his divine presence was ever meant to touch. So he waited. And he made you wait. This waiting was not a punishment. It was a preservation. It was an act of profound love. Love, in its purest form, is not just about feelings. It's a convergence of timing, purpose, and alignment. The kind of love your soul is crying out for is sacred, and sacred things are always revealed slowly, protected heavily, and released strategically. When this love finally arrives, because it is from God, it will not arrive in a storm of chaos or a cloud of confusion. It will arrive with undeniable confirmation. It will be accompanied by profound clarity and a peace that surpasses all understanding. It will carry with it a divine anointing that activates both of you into your greater, shared assignment. It will be two flames joining to become an inferno for His glory. And until that appointed day, understand that God is loving you in the silence. He is loving you in your sleep. He is loving you through your tears, catching every single one. He is loving you in your solitude, transforming it into a sanctuary of intimacy with Him. He's loving you through the few faithful friends who stayed, through the hard-won boundaries you finally learned to hold, and through the unshakable peace you had to fight tooth and nail for. He's loving you in the mirror as you unlearn toxic patterns and courageously break generational cycles. He is loving you through this period of preparation, not performance. So, when your heart starts to feel weary from the waiting, remind yourself of this. God is never late. He is exact. He is intentional. And everything He does is intricately tied to your eternal destiny, not your temporary emotions. Real love is not running away from you. It is running toward you at the speed of your obedience. The more you say yes to God's will, to His healing, to His process, the closer you come to what He has already said yes to on your behalf. You haven't missed it. You didn't mess it up. You are not too old, too broken, or too far gone. When it's God's love, it will find you right on time. And it will feel like everything that tried to break you was just divine preparation for the one thing that is about to build you up for eternity. You are not behind schedule. You are being perfectly aligned. Before we continue to the next chapter of this divine message, if these words are resonating deep within your spirit, let's make a sacred agreement. Take a moment to like this video, share it with someone else who needs this confirmation, and most importantly, subscribe to Chosen Pathways. By subscribing, you are not just joining a channel. You are declaring to heaven that you are ready for more. You are saying, I am on the path, I am open, and I am ready to receive the wisdom and guidance you have for me. Your support helps us reach more chosen ones just like you. Let's build this community of empowered, healed, and purpose-driven souls together. Now, let's continue the journey. Chapter 4. The old version of you attracted lessons. This one attracts legacy. You have loved before. You have hoped before. You have bravely, perhaps naively, given your heart to people who ultimately proved incapable of carrying its precious weight. But now, with the clarity of a healed perspective, you see it all so clearly. Most of what you called love in your past wasn't truly rooted in the fertile soil of God's will. It was rooted in the barren ground of your unhealed wounds. You weren't a broken person, but you were an unfinished masterpiece, an unhealed warrior, blissfully unaware of how deeply your past was dictating your present and sabotaging your future. The old version of you, the one still operating from a place of lack and insecurity, attracted people who perfectly matched your emptiness, not your divine essence. They were karmic assignments, sent not to build a future with you, but to expose your blind spots. They were human mirrors, sent to reveal to you what needed rebuilding and reinforcing within your own soul. That's why the chemistry was often electric and undeniable, but the foundation was always cracked and weak. That's why the passion felt so real, so intoxicating, but a shared purpose was always conspicuously missing. Those relationships were never your final destination. They were divine detours designed to teach you how to choose differently, to love yourself more, and to anchor your standards in heaven's criteria, not earthly loneliness. God allowed those painful connections not to destroy you, but to develop you. That version of you was still chasing completion in other people instead of discovering it in the endless ocean of God's presence. You mistook the breadcrumbs of attention for the feast of affection. You confused the drama of intensity for the safety of intimacy. You believed that being desperately needed was the same as being truly loved. You thought the dizzying emotional roller coasters were a sign of passionate, epic love. But now you know better. Now you understand that true, divine love doesn't confuse, it confirms. It doesn't deplete, it deepens. Now look at you. Just look at the magnificent person who has emerged from the furnace of refinement. This new version of you has survived. You have cried rivers over people who were never meant to stay. You have courageously let go of things, people, and dreams you once thought you couldn't live without. You have ceremoniously buried past versions of yourself that the world, and even you, tried desperately to keep alive. And from those ashes, you rose anyway. Crown. This transformation isn't casual. It isn't just a cute glow-up. This is kingdom. You are now being positioned for a union that carries spiritual power, not just fleeting passion. You are being prepared for a partnership that makes heaven smile and hell tremble. You are ready for a love that unlocks generational blessings, not one that perpetuates generational bondage. And this, chosen one, is why the wait was so long. This is why the pruning was so severe and painful. Because the version of you that is emerging right now is finally ready to receive the kind of love that the old you would have either rejected out of fear or ruined out of brokenness. The enemy desperately wanted you to stay stuck in those counterfeit cycles, forever chasing unavailable hearts and broken spirits. But God, in His mercy, allowed you to graduate from the school of painful lessons so that you could finally qualify for a love that builds a legacy. This is the season where God doesn't just restore your heart. He reveals precisely why it had to break in the first place. You were never being punished. You were being positioned for a love greater than you ever dared to imagine. Chapter 5. You had to learn to love yourself first. This is the sacred secret, the foundational truth upon which your entire future is built. Before real, divine love could ever find you, you had to find yourself. You had to meet, embrace, and fall deeply in love with the version of you that wasn't shaped by the harsh realities of survival, but was sculpted by the eternal, unshakable truth. The truth of your worth, the truth of your beauty, the truth of your divine design. This kind of profound self-discovery doesn't happen overnight. It's not an instant download. It's a sacred unraveling. It's not an easy, comfortable process. It's a divine awakening, and awakenings can be disruptive. You had to journey through seasons where external love felt distant, not because God was punishing you, but because He was fiercely protecting you. He was protecting you from attaching your destiny to someone who would have delayed your purpose. He was protecting you from giving the keys to your soul to someone who didn't even know how to handle the fragile sanctity of your heart. He was protecting you from confusing a fleeting connection with a divine alignment and a powerful attraction with a holy assignment. So, He allowed you, even commanded you, to sit with yourself. He allowed you to feel the sharp, uncomfortable edges of your own absence, not just the absence of another person. Because how could you ever recognize real, authentic love from another if you hadn't yet recognized and honored the authentic self within you? How could you receive what is divine if your hands were still desperately full of what was draining you? You had to painstakingly unlearn the lies whispered by a world that teaches you to beg to be chosen. The lie that you had to earn love by overgiving, overworking, or overcompensating. You had to break the insidious pattern of believing that someone else's inability to love you correctly was definitive proof that you weren't worthy of love at all. No, you had to stop seeing your reflection in the broken, distorted mirrors of other people's opinions and limitations. You had to stop waiting for another human being to grant you permission to be enough before you finally believed it for yourself. That kind of healing is messy. It's not glamorous. It's crying on the bathroom floor when no one understands your pain. It's making the terrifying decision to leave situations and relationships that you once prayed would change. It means courageously walking away from familiar pain and learning, step by shaky step, how to sit with the unfamiliar peace. It means choosing holy solitude over the soul-crushing compromise of settling. It means choosing wholeness over habit. But something indescribably powerful happened during that solitary process. You stopped chasing love, and you became it. Red Heart, you became the very peace you were once begging others to give you. You became the security you kept looking for in unstable hands. You became the safe place for your own heart that you never had. You finally, deeply realized that you were never too much. They just weren't enough to handle the profound depth of your spirit. You were never hard to love. They were simply unequipped to love at the frequency your soul required. You were never invisible. God was just hiding you until you could see your own reflection clearly, without distortion. Now, your desires have been purified. You're no longer interested in shallow attention. You crave deep, soul-bearing authenticity. You don't want a loud, performative love. You want a quiet, deep, and abiding love. A love that doesn't require you to shrink, to perform, or to prove your worth. A love that sees all of you, the light, the shadows, the scars, the glory, and stays. A love that is divinely sent, not just conveniently found. A love that meets you in your God-given strength, not your temporary struggle. And that, chosen one, is precisely what is coming now. Love is on its way. The kind you won't have to chase, beg for, or question. The kind that is rooted in truth, covered in grace, and confirmed by God Himself. A love that recognizes the healed, whole, and powerful version of you. It will see the royal priesthood in you, not the wounded child. It will honor the chosen you, not the chasing you. Because God was never waiting on them to love you right. He was waiting on you to love you first. And now that you do, absolutely everything is about to change. Chapter 6. The one sent by God will speak to your spirit. There exists a sacred, profound difference between someone who sees your face and someone who sees your soul. There's a chasm between someone who likes your public image and someone who is inexplicably drawn to your spiritual essence. The love that is being meticulously prepared for you, or perhaps is already circling closer to your orbit than you realize, is not surface level. It is not about convenience, chemistry, or charm. It is about calling, alignment, and divine timing. The one sent by God won't just complement your style, they will connect to your spirit. They won't just admire your physical beauty, they will revere and respect your process of becoming. They will recognize the sheer weight and significance of your calling, and instead of being intimidated or threatened by it, they will instinctively intercede for it. They will cover you in prayer when you don't have the strength to pray for yourself. They will hold sacred space for your ongoing healing and evolution. They will speak to you in ways that awaken your destiny, reminding you of prophecies you may have forgotten. This person will not come into your life to distract you from your path. They will come to activate you. They will be a divine catalyst, sent to remind you of who you truly are when the spiritual warfare gets heavy and you feel depleted. They will be a voice of life, speaking truth over you when you forget how powerful your own voice really is. They will water the seeds of purpose within you without ever demanding a share of the spotlight. They will celebrate your anointing without ever secretly competing with it. The one sent by God will not rush what is divine. They will walk with you at the pace of peace. They will not create confusion, drama, or anxiety in your life. They will bring a clarifying presence that calms the storms within you. They won't ask you to shrink, bend, or compromise your core values to make them comfortable. They will meet you in your wholeness because they, too, have done the sacred work. They have walked through their own dark valleys. They have surrendered their own ego at the feet of God. They have learned how to love from a place of unshakable truth, not unresolved trauma. And when they show up, you will know. It won't be a logical deduction. It won't be because they say all the right words from a script. You will know because your spirit, the deepest part of you, will recognize their spirit. It will be a feeling of there you are, a divine familiarity that transcends time and space. You will feel seen on a soul level without having to exhaust yourself explaining your entire life story. You will feel emotionally and spiritually safe without having to perform or pretend. You will feel chosen without having to beg to be picked. This kind of love doesn't come rushing in like a flash flood. It arrives gently when the soil of your heart is finally ready. It comes after you've healed from the counterfeit connections and detoxed from their residue. It comes when you finally stop tying your worth to whether or not someone stays. It comes when you've stopped confusing chaotic emotional highs with a holy union. It comes when your standards are no longer based on the desperation of loneliness, but on the conviction of divine alignment. This person will not trigger your deepest insecurities. Their love will soothe them. They will not play games with your heart. They will protect it as a sacred trust. They won't just tolerate your growth. They will be your biggest cheerleader, celebrating every milestone. They will want to know the God you pray to. They will want to worship with you, not just touch you. They will love you with a holy reverence because they see you not just as a potential partner, but as a divine purpose partner. With this person, you won't have to force anything. The conversation will flow. The understanding will be deep. You won't have to carry the entire weight of the relationship on your back. You won't have to overgive just to feel seen. You will not have to beg for clarity or plead with them to stay. Because this love won't be built on the flimsy foundations of lust, timing, or proximity. It will be built on the bedrock of prophecy. They are not coming to date you for a season. They are coming to build with you for a lifetime. They are coming to help you raise the vision that God planted in your heart long ago. They are coming to walk beside you as you both become everything heaven has ordained. And this love will finally feel like home. Not because it's familiar, but because it's finally, undeniably right. Chapter 7. This love will be your reward, not your rescue. There was a time, a season in your life, when you believed that love was supposed to save you. You might not have said the words out loud, but deep down, in the secret chambers of your heart, you were waiting for a rescuer. You were waiting for someone to ride in on a white horse and pull you out of your pain, to fix what others had broken, to finally prove to you and to the world that you were still worthy, even when you felt discarded and forgotten. You mistook the chaos of intensity for the safety of intimacy. You clung to people who mirrored your own wounds instead of reflecting your divine worth. And though your heart's intentions were pure, this pattern often led you to settle for far less than you deserved, just to feel something that vaguely resembled being seen. But God, in His infinite mercy and wisdom, allowed those old, broken versions of love to fall apart. He allowed those structures to be demolished, not to punish you, but to purify your definition of what love truly is. Because He never designed love to be your lifeline. He designed it to be your reward. It was always meant to be a beautiful reflection of His grace in your life, never a replacement for His presence. Folded hands. You walked through the desolate wilderness of loneliness for a divine reason. You sat in the deafening silence when all you wanted was to be pursued. You poured the precious oil of your love into places that only gave you back fragments and crumbs in return. And while it may have looked like abandonment to the outside world, it was actually divine preparation. You needed to be completely emptied of all the false, counterfeit forms of love so that you could finally recognize the real thing when it arrived. And now, you are not the same person. The transformation is complete. You are no longer chasing. You are no longer begging. You are no longer lowering your God-given standard in exchange for temporary company. You are not trying to be chosen by someone. You know, with every fiber of your being, that you are already chosen by God. You are not desperate to be saved because you have already been gloriously redeemed by the King of Kings. This next love, the one that is on its way to you, will not come to heal your brokenness. It will meet you in your wholeness. It will not come to erase your past. It will honor the incredible strength it took for you to survive it. It will not distract you from your purpose. It will walk alongside you in it, championing you every step of the way. Because this love is not here to replace God's primary role in your life. It is here to beautifully reflect what He has already done inside of you. It will look like clarity, not confusion. It will sound like truth, not empty promises. It will feel like peace, not pressure. and it will carry the unmistakable fingerprints of God, not the painful residue of your past. You will not need to shrink to be loved. You will not have to perform to be accepted. You will not be punished or shamed for being powerful, for being emotional, for being spiritual, for being unapologetically real. This love will understand your depths without fearing your light. This love will not just see your heart, it will fiercely protect it. And here is the ultimate beauty of it all. This love is not coming to complete you. It is coming to complement the magnificent masterpiece you have already become through God's refining fire. You have learned how to self-soothe in the lonely hours. You have healed in hidden places no one else knew about. You have remained standing when everyone else walked away. You have courageously turned your loneliness into profound spiritual intimacy with your Creator. You have become the kind of person who can love another deeply without losing yourself in the process. So do not be surprised when this love shows up gently, not with dramatic fireworks, but with quiet, soul-deep confirmation, not with inflated ego, but with profound humility, not with raging lust, but with steadfast loyalty. It is not coming to fill a void in you, but to walk with you in your divine assignment. This love will not rush you. This love will not confuse you. This love will not break what God just so carefully restored. This love will align perfectly with your calling. It will understand the sacred weight of your walk. It will stand beside you as you step boldly into your next season, not as a crutch to lean on, but as a covenant partner to build with. You are not entering a relationship just to update your status or to say you have one. You are entering a partnership ordained by heaven itself, one that fuels your destiny, not your ego. So when it comes, and it will come, do not question your worthiness. Do not overthink it into oblivion. Do not sabotage it out of a fear that it's too good to be true. You have already done the work. You have already passed the tests. You have already chosen healing over habit, purpose over preference, and God over gratification. And now, this love is God's divine response to all the times you chose faith over flesh, silence over begging, and standards over settling. This love is not your rescue. It is your divine reward. You won't have to chase it. You won't have to question it. You will just know, because it will mirror everything God has so painstakingly rebuilt inside of you. This is what you have been prepared for. Welcome to the love era of your life. Not because you needed saving, but because you finally became the version of yourself that could steward sacred love well. And all of heaven is proud. This is your confirmation. This is your sign. If you've made it to the end of this message, it is because your spirit is ready for this truth. Don't let this be a one-time encouragement. Make a commitment to your journey. Subscribe to Chosen Pathways and press the notification bell so you never miss a divine message meant for you. You are part of this family, this tribe of chosen ones walking the path of purpose together. Welcome home, Sparkles.